Jesus is arrested by a group of temple guards in the middle of the night. He's taken to the high priest for a jumped-up trial on made-up charges. His closest friend denies even knowing him. And then his own people hand him over to the Roman occupiers that normally they hated. Pilate knows that Jesus has done nothing wrong and sentences him to death anyway, because he doesn't have the moral courage to act as he knows he should. And then this happens. Pilate handed Jesus over to be crucified, so they took charge of Jesus. He went out carrying his cross and came to the place of the skull, as it is called. In Hebrew it is Golgotha. There they crucified him, and they also crucified two other men, one on each side, with Jesus between them. Pilate wrote a notice and had it put on the cross. Jesus of Nazareth, the King of the Jews, is what he wrote. Many people read it, because the place where Jesus was crucified was not far from the city. The notice was written in Hebrew, Latin, and Greek. The chief priest said to Pilate, "Do not write the King of the Jews, but rather this man said, 'I am the King of the Jews.'" Pilate answered, "What I have written stays written." After the soldiers had crucified Jesus, they took his clothes and divided them into 4 parts, one for each soldier. They also took the robe, which was made of one piece of woven cloth without any seams in it. The soldiers said to one another, "Let's not tear it, let's throw dice to see who gets it." This happened in order to make the scripture come true. They divided my clothes among themselves and gambled for my robe. And this is what the soldiers did. Standing close to Jesus' cross were his mother's sister Mary, the wife of Clopas, and Mary Magdalene. Jesus saw his mother and the disciple he loved standing there. So he said to his mother, "He is your son." Then he said to the disciple, "She is your mother." From that time the disciple took her home to live. Jesus knew that by now everything had been completed. And in order to make the scripture come true, he said, "I'm thirsty." A bowl was there full of cheap wine. So a sponge was soaked in the wine, put on a stalk of hyssop, and lifted to his lips. Jesus drank the wine and said, "It is finished." Then he bowed his head and died.